Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Tuesday teaching tip. Today we're going to talk about some instructional design ideas that you can incorporate right now. So first, let's talk about microlearning. So microlearning is a recall or a way for your students to get a little quick blast of bite-sized information that allows them to re-engage with whatever you're teaching them. So this can be sent out through a push notification. So if you have Remind or another app like that where you send out a brief reminder of something that you talked about yesterday or a piece of interesting literature that you read that relates to whatever your content is. That's a great way for learners to engage with that information yet again. Another great way is an infographic. So as you can see, I've provided an example of an infographic here, and this just provides a really quick way for students to interact with the information in a organized visual way that allows them to think, okay, these are the most important things that I need to get from whatever my teacher is trying to provide for me or my professor or instructor. The second is interactive learning. We all know that students' brains learn better when they're engaged. So if you would like to continue to lecture and provide that information through discussion in a lecture format, great ways to make that a little better where you can break up that information and you can provide it in a different way is to embed quizzes, do drag and drop opportunity or activities, slides that they can draw on. I used to use something called Nearpod, which I've included a picture of kind of what it looks like. It's a free service where you can take whatever previously made PowerPoints that you have and slide them in there and then just add the embedded quizzes. There's polls, open-ended questions, discussion boards, and other activities. If you're in the sciences, they have PhET simulations that you can incorporate. But this allows the students to engage with the material. It allows you to understand things that they are not understanding. So maybe you need to go back and teach them something that you thought that they got. It allows them to be able to focus a little bit better and to utilize their technology in class in a really engaging way. The last thing that we're going to talk about is experiential learning. So being able to engage your learners through their sight, taste, touch, sound, smell, those kinds of things. So providing them with an opportunity to experience your content, whether that be through a graphic organizer, some sort of sensory experience. For example, when I was teaching my students about the nervous system and how olfactory sense and taste receptors are linked, we did an activity where they had to hold their nose while they chewed on a jelly bean and then release their nose, and they had to guess both before they released their nose and after they released their nose what flavor they were actually tasting. And that allowed them to understand how those two things were linked. Another great way is a one-pager. It allows your students who are very creative and who want to convey information in a different way to be able to do that. It provides visual, so some sight experiences for your students who are visual learners. I've included an example here on this slide. You can see that they have done this one over Black History Month, and you give them certain parameters, like you want them to have a picture, you want them to include 3 facts about whatever it is, you want them to make sure that they include important definitions. Whatever it is, you can structure it however you want. And this is a very low-tech way to engage your students. They don't have to have a computer. They don't have to have their cell phone with them. This allows them to engage with the material in a way that is a little bit more low-tech and you might be a little more comfortable with. If you want to know more about some other instructional design opportunities or methods that you can include. I've included some resources here, and I'll be sending out this PowerPoint with this video so that you can click on those links if you'd like. Don't forget that our next webinar/seminar is March 28th at noon, and it'll be about UDL representation, so Universal Designing for Learning representation. Can't wait to see you then.